In this video, I'll be walking you through 5 wide receivers that I'm selling here as we approach week 4 fantasy football. These are players that I'm either beginning to panic on, have already completely panicked on, and I'm just ready to bail on as we make our way into this week's coming games. These are players that their outlooks, there's just a very prominent flaw, something we don't like to see here, and you need to move on to better options, of course, for your lineups as we make our way throughout the year. So if you're new around here, make sure to drop on down, smash that like button, and of course, I say this as much as I can, we strive to be an interactive fantasy community here at SFS, so any trade questions or fantasy football questions you have in general, drop those down in the comment section below. I'm happy to get back to you and give you my thoughts on that situation for this week. So, of course, if you've got a good feel for someone else's question as well, feel free to give them your 2 cents, chime in, help each other out. And again, let's make this a super interactive fantasy space for one another, and let's get into the video. All right, so the first wide receiver we're going to be talking through in today's episode is DK Metcalf of the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, I have had my harsh feelings about DK's fantasy stock for this year, but since he finally prevailed and had that relative boom game, or at least a lineup-worthy performance that we've been waiting for here, now is the time to offload him if you've been the one stuck with him on your rosters. To this point in the season, I have a similar takeaway to DK Metcalf that I have to Amari Cooper here. If you guys missed that, go check out my 10 lessons learned from week 3 fantasy football episode. Basically, what I talked through for Amari Cooper and that individual takeaway was the sense that if these subpar quarterbacks are getting optimal offensive line protection and are not being rushed in the pocket, they're going to be able to deliver the football. Now, what DK has going for him as well that Amari Cooper doesn't necessarily is that he is one of the just biggest, most monstrous physical athletes in the league right now. His 50-50 jump ball ability gives him some rare upside that not many players have. In terms of size alone, then you add the skill into that, that's a plus here. But Amari Cooper, what we kind of learned throughout the last couple of weeks is that very solid Cleveland offensive line gives Jacoby Brissett elite protection. So when they're not facing elite level pass rushes from the opponent, he can sit back there, this being Jacoby Brissett, and pick apart those defenses. Geno Smith can do similar things. And the Atlanta Falcons weren't pressuring him at a super high rate, only got home twice for 2 sacks. And he was ultimately able to go out there and put up 50-50 balls and give him high-quality looks in those opportunities, which DK ended up coming down with for a touchdown reception. So despite the fact that DK has a season-high 12 targets in this game, despite the fact that this is obviously the most positive outcome we've had for him this year, I am looking to hit that sell button. If you guys are feeling a little ballsy, you could hold him for another week here. He does have Detroit in week 4. He should be considered a top 24 wide receiver play for this coming game because we've seen against Detroit, teams are feasting. Now, Justin Jefferson is the one that didn't feast in that matchup this week, but we did see Adam Thielen do very, very well there. So he has the opportunity to back it up with 2 straight games here as we enter into week 4, but I'm looking to sell him high now if you can, if you have that chance to offload him from your rosters. Russell Gage here, yes, I apologize. That is a practice photo of Russell Gage. That's literally the best thing I can find of him right now. There isn't too many public photos of him in Tampa Bay uniforms. So basically, you've got a player here. Ride the wave of that wide receiver 1 responsibility he had in week 3 against the Packers. 13 targets, caught 12 of them out of the slot for 87 yards and a reception touchdown. Awesome, 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 but not sustainable. The problem with Russell Gage here is he went from being the wide receiver 1 in week 3. We saw that's, something he can do with high enough volume. Now he's going to be smashed down to, at best, the wide receiver 3 for this team. You've got Mike Evans, of course, coming back off of his suspension. You've got Chris Godwin, hopefully coming back this week, if not the next, from a hamstring injury. And you've got Julio Jones, who's going to be questionable with something, this or that, every single week. Right now, it's PCL. So with that, like I said, his best outcome here is the wide receiver 3 for this team. You've also got Cole Beasley. Maybe they keep him around. Maybe they don't. I think Russell Gage is the better player, though, so I'm not even to factor him into that. Russell Gage here had a dominant week. He was fantastic. The analysis really doesn't need to go much further. I would simply look to sell him for a high upside piece that could provide long-term value to your team. If you're fine, competent, and just willing to relax here with Russell Gage on your bench, That's fine. There wasn't too many wide receivers that really outdid themselves here for this week that I'm looking to sell high on. So if there is an opportunity in your league with Russell Gage being a fairly highly rostered player just because of his status on Tampa's offense, go out, take advantage of that. If you guys, like I said, are looking for some trade ideas, let me know the situation you're in down in the comment section below. But Russell Gage, I would take advantage of that higher stock while it is there. Adam Thielen, another player I'll sell here. Loved him in last week's matchup against Detroit. Kirk Cousins, it looked like it finally clicked. He's not going to be able to just force the ball to Jefferson every single play, and that looks to bode well for Adam Thielen here, but that doesn't take away the fact that I still view him as a very highly touchdown-dependent player. Even in his 8-target game here, he held in just 6 catches for, 61 yards. So you're looking at a player that is in for a 9-point game in half PPR scoring if that touchdown is removed. So he was wide open on the back line for his touchdown. Again, scored that, looked very good. He started getting more work at the end of the Philadelphia game. Maybe Jefferson gets into a funk here and he's struggling, but I'm not going to bet that that's the case. In games where those two are just zoned in and the other team doesn't have the personnel to defend Justin Jefferson, it's going to be the Jefferson show here, and you're going to see Kirk Cousins air that football out to him over and over and over again. So for me, like I said, Adam Thielen is a touchdown-dependent flex play going forward. Let's put it as that. There are so many wide receivers balling out right now, so many guys on the rise, trending upwards. The rookie receivers like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London. I'd sell Adam Thielen in a freaking second if you could get an offer for any of those players based off of what they're starting to do for their offensive situations. So I get it. Adam Thielen's a proven vet. We know what he can bring and provide to an NFL offense. But for me, I think that the floor is a little bit unattractive based off of some other lineup pieces you might be pairing him with, just because that consistency factor is something that we might be dealing with and struggling with throughout the year here. I did want to actually mention, let's go back to Adam Thielen for like 2 seconds here. He's at New Orleans this week, a very tough matchup. Then he's got the Chicago Bears in week 5. He can probably exploit that game. Then at Miami, which we just saw do quite a number on the Bills passing game. So we'll see how that stuff plays out, but not liking that scheduling break a ton as well. DJ Moore here into our 4th player. These next 2 are going to be guys that, I'll say this here, good luck. This isn't officially a sell high episode here, but these are players that I'm just looking to get deals made and move off of. DJ Moore is not someone you're going to be able to sell high on. Plain and simple. Straight up. 6 targets each of the first 3 games of the season, and the production just isn't there. What you're hoping here is that someone says, oh, DJ Moore, he was good last year, 162 targets. He's, very solid wide receiver too. I'll take him. And they take your problem off your hands. That's essentially what we're going for here, because the production was abysmal this week. It was awful. He hasn't had more than 43 receiving yards in any week so far through 3 games. The Panthers offense just can't move the ball. We had the risks in front of us with Baker Mayfield, Matt Rule, all the dysfunctional things factoring into the situation. We turned the other cheek, or at least I did partially here, and DJ Moore is kind of snake bitten us here, and it looks pretty rough heading forward this season. So I'm looking to get out of my shares of DJ Moore. I've only got a couple. Would like to have 0 here. Maybe I hold on to 1 just to potentially, hedge myself against a potential breakout. But based off of the target distribution, the unreliability of Baker Mayfield, and just the minimal passing attempts that I expect him to have in games where they can afford not to, I'm staying away from DJ Moore. I would look to move him. And similarly here, our last player, Allen Robinson, our final must-sell of the week, is another guy who, while I have more faith in the Rams, of course, to move the football downfield, his involvement has been very streaky, and it's only been 3 games, so again, not a huge sample size to base that evaluation on, but the usage hasn't been enough for me. You've seen him get no more than 5 targets in any of the first 3 games, and you've also seen him, last week, crumple it up and throw it in the trash. Atlanta game where he scored the goal line fade touchdown. It was awesome. They got him involved early and threw him a quick pass. They also had another touchdown waved off the board due to a medical timeout or something. Throw it away. I mean, we come out here in week 3, and that was basically a forgotten thought. It was back to Cooper Kupp or bust. It was back to, they actually ran the ball a little bit more this week, which was somewhat of a positive, but I just don't think his involvement on a week-to-week basis is going to be consistent enough. Cooper Kupp is so far and away the 1A option for this team. I was hoping it would be a 1A or even a 1B or 1C type situation for A-Rob here, where maybe Cooper Kupp's the 1A, there isn't really a 1B, and then A-Rob is the 1C. It's just, significant enough of a drop-off that he was able to do some big damage here. But it's obvious to see he's not factored in enough into the weekly game plans. The target share and volume is not enough to sustain consistent production. The wide receiver, too, we were hoping for here, probably not going to pan out. Right now, the production hasn't been anywhere remotely close to where it needs to be. So, again, like I said with DJ Moore, good luck on selling him for a price that really makes you feel great about yourself. But I do think, and I really don't like selling low on players, but if an offer is there, if you can throw them in as a sweetener in a package to make a big deal, a splash impact move for your roster, I don't hate doing that whatsoever, because at the end of the day, Allen Robinson and this LA Rams offense is not something for me that right now looks like it's clicking. I'm seeing him get open on tape. I'm seeing the routes. I'm seeing the finesse I was looking for, but I'm not seeing the opportunities come for Matthew Stafford. At the end of the day, a dependent player playing a dependent position needs to have Stafford having his back, throwing him footballs at a consistent clip, and just giving him opportunities to make plays. So that'll do it for today's must-sell wide receiver segment. If you enjoyed, smash that like button, click the subscribe button if you're new around here, and check out some of the other links in the description of today's video. Social medias, Instagram, TikTok, what else we got? Twitter as well. I was drawing a blank there for a second. All kinds of great stuff for you guys to check out and get more from the SFS channel here. I've been trying to post more interactive behind-the-scenes content on Instagram, so Sizzle Fantasy Sports is the handle for that, to go check that stuff out. So I'll see you guys there. I appreciate you guys for watching. Check out our week 4 fantasy football playlist here for 2022, and I'll see you there. Peace out.